There are stories that seem to seal themselves quietly into a person's life, only to open at the exact moment when time finally puts everyone in their proper places, revealing who truly stood beside you and who merely pretended to care. This is one of those stories, and it has nothing to do with square meters, but everything to do with the human heart. Because when a will is read, the air in the room changes. My mother-in-law, who passed away after a long, silent illness without complaints or theatrics, always thanks me for any help. She left behind documents that brought us together, her 2 adult daughters, a few distant relatives, and me, in that tense atmosphere that always appears when inheritance is involved. When the notary opened the envelope, adjusted his glasses, and began reading, I felt everyone's eyes turn toward me because my name was in the will and the apartment was left to me. I couldn't understand it, nor could her daughters, whose faces showed hurt, confusion, and quiet humiliation. No one could make sense of it until a letter was found later, one that would otherwise have left me carrying their silent accusation for life. It was discovered after the funeral in an old jewelry box among faded photographs and yellowed postcards with the inscription, "To be read by the family after my death." When we gathered again, the tone of the letter was not accusatory or defensive, but honest and final. She wrote that she knew her daughters expected a different decision, but she could not leave her apartment to those who visited once every few months and always hurried to leave. She blames no one. Life filled with husbands, work, and children is demanding, but old age leaves a person alone. And only one person stood beside her, not out of duty, helping her stand, cooking soup, reading aloud when her eyes failed, wiping her tears when pain overwhelmed her. She wrote that she would not sell her gratitude and was leaving the apartment to the one in whose home she felt she still mattered, asking her daughters to understand the difference between love and habit. A phrase that hung in the air like a heavy bell. The daughters remained silent not because they couldn't argue with the dead mother, but because they no longer wanted to. The letter lifted from them the burden of feeling obliged to be offended. It carried no anger, only the truth she never dared to say aloud. The older daughter whispered that they really didn't visit often, and the younger admitted they thought there was still time. That admission mattered more than the inheritance. Her decision wasn't cruelty, but justice, breaking the belief that a mother must give everything to her children when life doesn't follow such templates. She punished no one and sought revenge on no one. She simply chose the person who became her true companion in her hardest years. Her decision was born not of emotion, but of long observation of quiet days when someone simply sits beside you because being old and alone is frightening. Afterward, I offered her daughters to share the apartment or at least use it so things would feel fairer, but they refused, saying it was her will and she knew what she was doing. And for the first time in years, something human appeared between us. Not cold kinship, but a real connection. We began talking more, as if the letter had become a bridge she built even after her passing. In the end, this story is not about a will, but about the way life always arranges itself. Sometimes too late, sometimes only after someone dies, but always inevitably. And when someone quietly does good without expecting anything in return, the world notices, even if only through a single envelope containing a short final letter.